One of the qualities that all human minds are searching for at this moment in time is peace. How many times do people say, I want peace of mind? Because without peace there can't be stability, there can't be focus, everything appears chaotic. And very easily when there's no peace, then negativity becomes stronger. Let us look at peace. Let us find peace. And of course, we cannot really find peace outside. Stable peace which renews me again and again is inside. And I need to find this peace daily. It cannot be a peace that I find just through a walk in the forest or a walk along the seaside. That is very beautiful and very refreshing. But most of us live in cities. We have busy lives. We don't have time to go to the sea, to be in the forest for many hours. So let me find this oasis of peace inside myself. Peace means harmony. Peace means balance. Peace means a quiet mind. A mind that is under my control. A mind that can be still. A mind that is not like a horse or a monkey that runs here and there whenever it wants. My mind should not have a mind of its own. In silence, with attention, I gradually become the master of my own mind. And the mastery of my mind is to keep it quiet whenever I wish. And in that quietness, I can recharge it. I can give it strength. And when my mind is fresh, when my mind is positive, then my life becomes peaceful. Peace is tranquility. Tranquility is the atmosphere I create around myself. And in that atmosphere of tranquility, others also get refreshment. They also feel themselves released from anxiety, irritation, fears. They are able to relax when they are near me. Peace is serenity. Serenity is a state of being. Serenity is like a combination of being complete within and being content. Complete means I am satisfied with who I am and what I have. To be in peace means I save, I economize on the energy of my thoughts and my feelings. But at the same time, I'm able to donate. I'm able to donate this peace wherever and to whomever it is necessary. I am a being of peace.
Shanti. Good evening. Santosh, is that me? Because this is... He has a new mic. Om Shanti. So the meditation that you heard was from one of our brothers, Brother Anthony, who is in charge of the Brahma Kumaris in Greece. And he had an interesting departure. He was at a retreat in Brazil, and around breakfast, the soul decided to leave the body around breakfast through the form of a heart attack. And it was a very interesting scene. It was about maybe 3-4 years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago. And sometimes you just don't know when the soul says, I guess my contract with this body is done. And it's a very interesting way to look at one's life now and look at how life unfolds for us when you look at it that way, right? So you know how when you purchase an item at a technology shop or an electronics shop, or many places nowadays, when you purchase something, they tell you, would you like to sign up for an insurance? And they give you a 3-year warranty, and now you know nothing's going to happen with the product in 3 years, but everything happens to the product after 3 years, right? Have you noticed that? Every insurance that you've signed up for, have you used it yet? Be very mindful what they're preparing you for. But they say that the insurance or the warranty will be no longer valid after 3 years. It expires. So let's give this some thought and reflective thinking. Does the soul have an expiration date for our own bodies? And is there an expiration date where I, the soul, in this body, has an expiration date with you? And just like I was telling my beautiful sister in the back, and it was so interesting because she noticed something about her features, and I had not seen that at all. It was very interesting. I didn't see what she saw. I was seeing something else that seemed so incredibly beautiful. And it was interesting because, again, everything has a lot to do with what we see and how we interpret and what we feel. But have you ever given it a thought that I have an expiration policy with you? Tonight's our last night. And after tonight, we won't be having Raj Yoga meditation class. I will be expiring our contract tonight in terms of this six-part session. And it's very interesting because in a way, once something expires, you can renew it, can't you? Sometimes there's a little penalty because you went over the date or what have you. Or you can upgrade it, because after this class is an upgrade policy. If you want to be upgraded, you can come to the next sessions, which would be an upgraded policy. Or you can decide, it was fine. 2 weeks, it was the contract or the warranty, I'm good. Isn't that nice to think of it this way? I signed up for the Raj Yoga course. They gave me a 2-week free warranty. Yeah, it was very good. I don't know if I can meditate. I wasn't expecting that. It was interesting. Oh, I couldn't get it. Oh, I got it. Oh, it was powerful. I just don't know what to do with it yet. But I will. But the warranty's up. But the good thing about spirituality, it's an ongoing journey. And because it's ongoing, you can always upgrade, elevate, uplift, enhance, extend. You can extend your warranty. So, since we've been together for these 2 weeks, it has been a lot of wisdom. It's been wisdom imparted on you. Have you ever heard some of Joel Osteen's sharing? Have you ever heard T.D. Jakes? Have you ever heard Oprah Winfrey? Have you ever heard Marianne Williamson? Have you ever heard Michelle Obama? You ever heard Maya Angelou? Nelson Mandela? Have you ever heard Jesus? Buddha? Guru Nanak? And do you remember that whenever you listened or you read something that they offered or conveyed, did you remember the deep shift it had on you, the impact it had on you? It could have been very fast, like, oh, that was wonderful. Oh, that was deep. Oh, I love that. And you would share it, maybe. Oh, I watched this 2-3 minute video that was so moving. Oh, I have to, let me share it with all my friends on Facebook. That means it touched your spirit. One of the main reasons why people even follow you or like you or share what you offer, it's because you said, did something that touched their hearts. And so when the heart gets touched, it has to act. How can I not act after my heart has been touched? And that's one of the reasons why we ourselves have to find ways to cultivate healthy ways of interpreting each other. And I'll tell you why that's important. Every one of us are going through our own personal challenges on our own. And when we come in contact with each other, sometimes you're not feeling so well either. And then what you give to me might not be such a nice fragrance. I don't like the perfume you're wearing. And because it doesn't make me feel good, or it's offensive, my heart closes up. And I don't feel like giving to you, but much less to maybe 4 or 5 people along the way. Because being with you affected me so much, my heart closed down for a little. And it's very important for us to not allow anyone outside of our 3 square feet of vibrational field to be so powerful that they become the instrument to stop me from loving. Because that's my choice. It really is. I was sharing that I've been suggesting the advanced students, why don't you come over more on Sundays, on Saturday morning, because we have the advanced classes. And one of the things I've been requesting for us to do here is to raise the vibrations of divinity in the space, so that you can feel even more amplification of sacred energy when you walk in the Tyson space, because it's tinier and there are more yogis there. The vibrations are very more sublime. You felt it. It just has a sweetness to it. And so I've been wanting to raise the energy here more too. So of course, as you know, you share and the invitation is there, and you take for granted the folks that you see every day or the folks that you know very well. There's a very famous saying that those who live by the Ganges don't appreciate it as much as the ones who visit the Ganges. So sometimes you're never a prophet in your own kingdom, right? So you get what I'm saying. That even though I am trusting that you understand the importance and the benefit of the collective presence, I was just noticing myself that, okay, even if everybody doesn't come on a Saturday and they want to all come on a Sunday, then let me come. If nobody wants to come, let me come. So I was sharing that every morning I've been coming 8:30, 9 o'clock. Even if I have to give the class in Tyson's, I'm still here. And can I tell you, it hit me yesterday that we have to keep giving what we want from others. So you want the vibrations to raise in the museum in Silver Spring? Then let me come. You got it? It was just such a powerful experience for me this last 2 weeks. And can I tell you, I've been coming every morning and I've been just enjoying my mornings. So I come in, I turn up my music, I play loud. Happy and I will play for 10 minutes. I'll go in the kitchen, I'll make breakfast for everyone before they come late, because they come late, but I'm here early. But I just know that when they come, they'll have a nice meal and I'll be very happy. You know, I'm very happy. Look what I'm doing. You can do this. But it's very interesting because you can see how the realization was give what you want. It was that simple. So it really doesn't matter if the advanced students value coming more regularly. See, I show up every morning, but it's not mandatory for advanced students to show up every morning. But it would be nice if the heart recognized the importance of that. You see, it's like you do make certain sacrifices or certain commitments because long term, for the bigger picture, it sustains, it supports. So what I'm trying to convey is, out of the 2 weeks that we've been together, whatever the soul has received, you've earned it. Whatever you have felt, whatever has moved you, whatever has inspired you, whatever has challenged you, whatever was your test, and whatever you just didn't get, you're not supposed to get it yet. But if you felt something, own it. If you felt something good, something inspiring, something empowering, something that challenged you a little, own it. Because in another day or 2 or 3 weeks' time, you're going to move on. And you're going to be owning something else. And then something else. And then something else. So as we move into the final aspect of the initial orientation of Raja Yoga meditation, I hope you've understood that this whole practice of meditation isn't about emptying your mind. May I just remind you to value your beautiful mind. And even though the thoughts that are swimming in and out of your beautiful mind might not be perfect, it might not be the thoughts you'd like to put up on a billboard and go, that's me, right? It's still yours. And whether they're good or not so good, let your mind know, I still love you as you are. But I suspect there's more to you. That's the way you need to practice your meditation. Don't force yourself to stop thinking. Don't force yourself to have an experience. Don't force yourself to focus on Baba's light. And I think I'm supposed to see those colors, right? Oh, I think my forehead is supposed to pop open and I'm supposed to become awakened or enlightened. That's television and that's Hollywood. We don't do that here. In the Brahma Kumaris, here we want you to have a relationship with yourself so that you can have a lot of faith and trust in connecting with the Supreme Energy, the Supreme Source. You can feel comfortable. Have you ever been in the company, and I'm not saying this in an arrogant way, but have you ever been in the company of someone who really was just better than you? Yet no? Oh my God, you need to get some good friends. Something is up. Are you telling me you have never been in the company of somebody who's better than you, or your ego won't accept that somebody's better than you? Is that what that vibration was about? What was that all about? Oh my goodness, that was amazing. So, I'm going to ask the question one more time. Have you been in the company of someone that you thought and felt was better than you? Didn't that feel more liberating? Oh, geez, don't tell me I got to do this course all over again. So here's the point. when you're in the company of someone who seems to have more experience in a particular area, it could be medicine, it could be law, it could be literature, it could be racing a car, it could be technology, it could be fashion, it could be mothering, it could be fathering, it could be a sport, it could be a manager who's just exquisite. They were just better than you at it. And because they're better, there are two ways you could look at them: with inspiration or with jealousy or judgment or criticism. Just pause for it. And so when you look at a person or a situation or a circumstance where someone is involved and they just seemed better than you, you get inspired. At least we're supposed to. When you look at and I'm saying this is not political or whatever, but I have to tell you, I've observed the journey of Michelle Obama, because she has her new book out, Becoming Michelle Obama. And yesterday I happened to have seen a snippet of her and Ellen, and I happened to have overheard a snippet of her and Oprah, and each one I got a different segment, something to do with something about that short time, and just seeing someone living truth and living a life of goodness inspired you. Isn't it an inspiration? Don't you feel inspired, right? And you're inspired because you're not living with the person 24/7. So your eyes aren't capturing images of maybe whatever her limitations might be. Where she might have this amazing character and quality of being, but you're so trapped in, well, she eats with her hands, like in India we eat with hands. I'm just giving you an example. And you might go, oh, don't eat with her, she has the worst eating habits ever. And you can focus on the negative and delete everything positive in where you could have learned a lot from her presence and her lifestyle. And so the reason why I'm sharing this with you is that we can find ourselves living very inspired by individuals who we really don't know their biography. We only know what the public relations specialist sent out to brand the individual for us to really fall in love with them. That's one. But secondly, they might also be very much like that. I remembered I was at a game and there was a person who was extremely close to a very high-profiling political person. And I had only the nicest things to say. And the person then says to me, you don't know them, I've known them since I was kids. And I walked away with such a feeling that I didn't appreciate her telling me that about someone that I admired. Okay, it's fine, you grew up with them in Illinois and I didn't. But I'm enjoying my clear perception of them. It inspires me. Because you can't tell me there isn't good in that person. So the point that I'm making is that where we are as human beings, there's always this uncanny ability that the algae will always look for algae in another person. And as much as in the media or with advertisement or whatever it is, we can build people so big in the eyes of the world. And if there's anything that you capture that doesn't seem to match the bigness, you can also make a lot of money on their decline. It's a business. Build them as high as you can and keep looking to see if they'll do anything wrong, because we can make a lot of money, and we can make money if they make a comeback. It's a cycle. It's business. And why I'm telling you the story is because in your path of spirituality and understanding your beautiful mind, Baba, the Supreme Energy, is telling you, don't give up on you being your greatest inspiration for you. Another thing that Baba will tell us, don't give up on looking at me as your greatest spiritual inspiration. Because when you look at me, when you look towards me, but when you look into me, when you look into that supreme energy, when you look into that supreme source, there are no defects. That means if when I'm meditating, I am able to consistently or continuously or as much as I can, I want to remember that there was a time that I was my greatest inspiration because I remembered you. And in my remembrance of you, everything in my energetic field was just coming back. It's just coming back. It was just coming back. So as we look into the cycle of time, as we mentioned in our last session, the Iron Age, the Kali Yuga, the age of algae being 98%, 99% full on everywhere around us. And if that algae is in every one of us, if we keep living our lives expecting a savior, a person, please inspire me to be better. It is of no use to you to live a virtually delusional life. It's not real. And why I say that is, you can watch as many YouTube lectures and talks of great inspirational speakers, motivational speakers, whoever you think, oh, I listen to so-and-so on YouTube, I watch so-and-so on this TV show, I go... It's nothing like the human experience and observing how you are behaving one-on-one with people. Because no matter what you do, energetically as souls with one another, something will always happen. And the heart will just feel a little bit like, And every time the heart gets hurt, wondering if this person likes me or not, do they respect me or not? How could they have done that to me after all I've done for them? All of that is your disempowerment. And that's the work of algae. And that's when I'm disconnected from Baba. Whenever I'm connected to Baba, it's when you plug in your charger in the socket to get some battery charge of your phone. If you don't plug this in, if your being and your thoughts don't get plugged into source, I'm not quite sure how we're going to make this through. Because right now, the vibrational energy of algae is so into us that we're going to need protection. And that's why I always say, get in a gathering of good people. People who are doing good. Who are willing to make pure sacrifices to be a better version of themselves. These are the people you can be inspired by, not virtual people. The people that you're seeing, the living proof, they're doing it. They might not have 15 million people following them because they don't have a publicist. They haven't spent thousands of dollars for a marketing agent or a PR person to brand them. And it brings me to who I call my great-great-grandfather, who was Brahma Baba. You know, in life, people will inspire you, but you still have to step into your power, isn't it? Your parents inspired you to some extent. It depends on your parents. And then after you reach a particular age, you're on your own. And only when you need them for big things you go back home or you call them, if they're still around. So when I was 17 and my mom and stepfather came into the spiritual path, I remembered after 6 months my mother changing so much. Remember I told you she was orphaned at 7, abused, raped, abandoned, beaten, whatever. Whatever they would do with, they would try to take her younger sisters, and she says, leave them. Just take me, leave them. So she has been through a lot. So I remembered growing up with her, just so empathetic. And I think my compassion came because this was an authority in my life. And that authority just seemed so hurt. But she was an authority. And so whatever I could do to help and support that authority was my role, growing as a child. So very compassionate as a child. And I remembered when she came into the path of spirituality, she was Rastafarian, she was Jewish, she was Christian, she was Hindu, she had gurus, then she was an atheist, then she became this, and she became a Muslim. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to wait until she passes through this phase too. It was going to be okay. Because I understood she was searching for something and I had nothing to do with this. But of course, as a child or as a teenager, you want someone who's an authority in your life and someone who you love to be okay. To just be okay. So it was 6 months that passed and she studied this Raj Yoga. And can I tell you, there was a day she was passing by the kitchen and she had cooked food because she started to become more conscious in her diet. So because she was Jamaican African, she would cook, stew peas, curry goat, curry chicken, jerk pork, jerk this, jerk. And so this was just the diet as Jamaicans, it's just all you ate. And so here she changed all of that, right? And I remembered she was just taking her little simple food she cooked and she was going into the meditation room like the one you see here. And I happened to have just glanced at her. And as she passed me by, there was this fragrance of an angel that went like, and I was like, that's not my mom. Oh my God, is she dead? And it was her. She was in such a remembrance that she was a pure and a beautiful soul, and she was no longer this traumatized, abandoned person. But she now had become God's child, and that she was now finally loved and finally protected. And that consciousness, that realization, that vibe, filled her soul so much that it just covered her body. When she would walk, people would just have visions of her. That's all they would see, was just light around her. We would see it, would be like, I don't know how she's connecting, but she is really doing good. And we would see that in her. And so she would tell me about this path, and I'd go, yeah, I hear you. I'm really not interested, though. I think this is really good for you, Mom. You need it. You really do. And I think it's done so good for you. And I think whatever has changed you to what you have become, I'm in full support. But I know this is not for me. And it wasn't until I was about 24. So here I am, living in their home until I was 19, and I would see the picture of the founder, Brahma Baba, and his eyes would follow me everywhere in that house. I hated it. It was like, could you mind your business? And I would be walking from one room and he would have these compassionate, loving eyes like. And I remembered when I wanted to do something very, very naughty for the first time, and I was out with a bunch of friends. And those eyes came and looked at me with love. And I just couldn't do it. And I got home that night And I took his picture off the wall and I turned it around. I really did it. And the next morning when my mother woke up, she goes, "Oh, what happened to Brahma Baba's picture?" She picked it up and I was like, "Ugh." Long story short, I'm in the country visiting, and all of a sudden I'm getting these visions of this gentle, soft feature of this man, Brahma Baba. And he would look at me with this gentle love and wisdom, kind of like he's not saying anything to me. He would just look and see if you were able to recognize your worth. That was the way. Has anyone ever looked at you like that before? Have you ever? I'm not talking about looking at you with judgment like, you don't know how good you are. Not that type. But if anyone ever just looked at you like, do you understand what you can become? And that was the way he looked into you. His eyes looked into you. And so I had these visions, and I got back from the country I was visiting, and I told my mother, I'm going to go to India and have this experience. And I went to India, and he even came in another subtle form, like I'm sitting here and he would come right there. And it was again this gentle feature, like he would just look at me like, just he was this plain mirror. And it was as if in his features, he wanted me to look at myself to see if I could recognize who I was. And so I would get this experience, and then when I went to the headquarters in Mount Abu, I had a very profound experience of the Supreme Energy. I think I just surrendered. I just said, whatever. Let me see if this thing is really real. And it was in my letting go that I started to hold on. I had to let go of my old version, and I was able to hold on to a new version that was getting built. I'm still not even halfway near where I'm supposed to be, but I'm happy where I am. So I wanted to share with you the story because in stories we can learn a lot about ourselves. And when Brahma Baba had his experience in the 30s, he had no idea what his experience would be or what his unfolding would be. And so all the teachings that I have shared with you, I have to give the credit to Brahma Baba, because if he had not received that teachings, I wouldn't be sitting here. I wouldn't. I wouldn't tell you with the conviction that I have in my spirit right now when I talk to you, you are one powerful soul. And love and peace and purity, they are your religion. It's not your bodily religion. Your religion is spiritual. And so I tell you this because as we move into the final course, there are some powers that we build along this journey. And I can only imagine what Brahma Baba went through from the moment he had his awakening in the early 30s till 1969 when he passed away. Just imagine, from 1933 or 34 to January 18th, 1969, this human being kept going deeper into the soul, the remembrance of this God energy. Be responsible for the choices you make, karma philosophy. You're in a cycle. Things repeat. Don't get stuck in your algae because you'll repeat it. Get over it. Figure out why it's there, but keep moving towards your golden age. don't let algae make you stuck in an Iron Age interpretation of yourself, because time moves forward. As much as people right now in our country are trying to turn back history, they can't. Do you know why? Have you ever looked at a pendulum? Or what is that little thing with the balls? What do you call it? And then you pull the ball back. It's a pendulum, right? And as far as you pull it back, what happens when you release it? It thrusts the energy forward. So people can try to hold you back as much as they want to. However amount of pressure people are trying to put on you to not grow, to not achieve, to not be your best, turn it back on you. Are you putting pressure on you? Do you not believe in yourself enough? Because the deeper your lack of belief is for you, it's almost as if you're pulling yourself back. Just be ready, just be ready, just be ready. Because when you're ready to release that, boom. Can you imagine where you're going to go with that? Totally forward. And I'm hoping that the Raj Yoga course is your forward thrust. I'm hoping that you were able to sink into some of the ideas and thoughts and feelings that were shared with you in the last 2 weeks. So, over to your left. There are 8 powers that you build in Raj Yoga meditation. And each power is extremely specific. Princess, could you pass me the sheet of the 8 powers that are in the front? I'm not quite sure the origin of the 8 powers, but I'll tell you that as you investigate them deeper, you begin to realize that the more you use these 8 powers, the easier you're able to have meditation and to connect. Thank you, dear. Yeah, I might ask someone to read it. So, with these 8 powers, we have the power to pack up, the power to let go, and I'll tell you how they work. They work when you are in a particular situation. And if you use the power while you're in the situation, you're powerful. If you recognize the power after the situation, you're becoming smart. In other words, you always realize that was the power I should have used. I should have not said what I said. I should have chosen another thing to do. So the more you develop these 8 powers, which means you have to pay attention to yourself. The more you pay attention to yourself, the more you'll find great success in situations. So, Diamond, since you're closest, could you help to read some of them, like the power to cooperate? There are the strong versions to it and the weak versions to it. Could you try for me?
How to cooperate with soul-conscious
Vision.
I see others as my brothers and sisters, creating an atmosphere of unity and strength. This makes any task easy.
Lovely. And when it's in, yeah, when it's in the strong form,
Power is strong. I am humble in giving. I am appreciative. I respect my own and others'
specialities.
specialities. I am supportive.
Good. And now this is when you're not aware that you have that power in you to cooperate. This is how it functions.
Power is weak. I waste time and money. I am arrogant and untrusting. I am ungrateful and unappreciative. I lack self-worth.
Can you believe that? Now, where that power is needed the most is when you're in a team dynamics or when there's more than one of you. When there are 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 people, this is your lifesaver. So then you look at the strength of when you're going to apply the power to cooperate, there has to be the virtue of humility. Now, when you realize that you're in a company, have you ever been in a company with people? And I've been there, and people would be like, they don't get along with you, or they're not, you just don't resonate with them. It could be even your wife or your husband. It's just like, they're just not cooperating. Have you ever had it when you told your husband or your wife, why don't you just cooperate with me and the kids? It's because somehow somebody in the family won't adjust. And ego is usually the reason why somebody won't adjust. So when there isn't that adjustment or that humility, what happens, you get a deadlock. It's just nobody's going to bend, right? So the power to cooperate is a quality that you would use when especially you're in team dynamics, when there's more than one people. Have you ever lived in a house with more than 2 or 3, and everybody puts their dishes in the sink and nobody washes it, and they leave it for you to come home and wash? And what do you sometimes say? I wish you would just cooperate with me. I've been out working hard all day, and all you have to do is just wash the dishes for me. So you find that when they're not cooperating, this is how you feel. You got it? So what Baba wants to teach you is to apply these powers in every situation and interaction with one another. Here's one that I tend to like a lot, which I always forget. It's the power to face. Nothing seems like an obstacle, but rather a stepping stone to victory. You have developed the ability to confront and resolve external and internal obstacles, tests, and challenges with great faith and courage. To lack this power means to be dominated by external dramas. Are you one of those folks that just gets really upset based on what other people are doing? Or are you able to really adjust knowing, I got this? So you see, these 8 powers are a part of your meditation. One of the things, I remember when I was a young student in the Brahma Kumaris, and one of my elders looked at me and she says, you don't have discerning power. And at first, of course, you get offended because you come into spirituality with your accolades of your old iron-aged life, thinking you know more than the saints. And I remembered how offended I felt, but because I could feel offended, I recognized that was my ego. Why would she tell me that if it wasn't true? So then once you recognize what's blocking you from learning, and you're honest with yourself, that's when you can develop truth and learn more about who you are. So when I had that dialogue and said, well, why would she tell me something that wasn't true? And then I looked into what the power to discern meant. And I'd like to share it with you, because pretty much a very vast amount of our country is in need of this power. Like the trained eye of a jeweler who discerns the real from the imitation, your clarity of mind discerns beneficial from destructive, truth from false, within a second. Discerning power. Can't you see our country is going through a lack of this power to discern? And I use the word a lot now because I also connect, in order for my discerning power to become amplified, I have to be honest with myself. So the virtue of honesty is needed. And the discerning one there, Julio, if you could read me the discern power that's strong and weak.
The power to discern. The power to discern is the ability to give the correct values to the thoughts, the words, and actions of myself and others. This power is strong when I'm able to see accurate choices. I am at the right place at the right time. I can predict consequences, and I can discard what is not important.
Mm-hmm.
Power is weak. My life is chaotic. I'm busy all the time. My choices often bring negative consequences.
Our country is in need of the power to discern. So I'm going to offer you these 8 powers to study. And you can definitely, I think we'll send you a link to them, but please get a copy here. As you know, everything is charity. But I find that you get these and you put them up, and please trust me when I tell you this. Your success in meditation doesn't mean that when you sit in a corner and close your eyes and go, Om, that you've succeeded. The success in your meditation practice is that you're observing your characters becoming more divine. Your personality is getting softer, but it's stronger. Your love is expanding. Your clarity is expanding. Your purity is creating wonders. And your peace can soften the harshest of hearts. That's your proof your meditation is working. So it's not just about sitting in a corner for 20 minutes or half an hour. Does it make sense? It actually, I think, can liberate us more. But what I'd like you to practice, though, because now we're coming to the close of the session, and we've talked about a lot of things, but everything is for the empowerment of your life. And meditation is about empowering your life. And you've been so gracious in being opened to the wisdom of empowerment. And I observe you, and your spiritual integrity is so beautiful to observe. Like, you're serious about your transformation. And Santosh, thank you. You're so smart. And so in the core, in the center of all my powers working, has to be the quality of love. And in order for the love to increase, I am imploring you, please wake up early. If you wake up at 4, feel free, if you can, 15 extra minutes, and say, Baba, I'm all yours. I just want to sit with you. The best time to have a meditation and yogic experience is early in the mornings. And so when you sit in silence, or you can call it stillness, or when you pause, you see, what'll happen is when you wake up in the morning, you might feel heavy. And your sign of feeling heavy is your signal that you're not taking care of your spirit or body. Because you're not supposed to wake up heavy when you have another day of fortune waiting for you. You should be waking up enthusiastic that there's another day of fortune waiting for you. That means the day before you went to bed in the spirit of fortune. Do you understand? So experiment tonight. When you head home, you start to think about, do a little bit of life review. Thank you, confirmation. So you do a little bit of life review. And in your life review, as you're driving home, or if you're driving in together, share these thoughts and ideas of the class. Look at the depths of karma philosophy about what you take into these senses will have an impact here. I want you to explore that if things are cyclical, I only want my good times to last a long time. I don't want my issues to be around me for 20, 40, 50 years. Some people can spend a whole life in a karmic problem and throw away a whole lifetime. And that's karmic. But if you recognize that your change is only a thought away, then why not change it? Again, I learned that lesson this last 2 weeks, and I said, let me come. Yeah, I want to raise the vibrations in the museum? Then come, Jen. You come and be here. Just you alone, it's fine. You and Baba will make the vibrations beautiful. And then as I started to come on my own more regularly, friends would come and visit. So once you shift your energy, situations around you too will start to shift. And that's what happened with Brahma Baba. He changed his whole human existence into a person that would start to soul search and look for himself, and so many people came to live with him to find solutions and everything, and they moved into his home. And for 14 years they grew. And he taught them, learn these powers and you will not be deceived. Know who you are, you won't hurt. Connect yourself to the source, to God, and you will always have a life of trust and faith. And he says, give, give, give. Live a generous life. Don't be selfish with your life. Your life is here to give. And that's how we have become who we are here. So the invitation for the advanced classes. If you're really bold, I'll be here tomorrow morning at 7:30. And I'll be happy to gently meet with you, or you can come at 9 o'clock in the morning. And I can stay with you for half an hour, 45 minutes, and just, gently guide you through. If you happen to be in Virginia, you're welcome to come at 11. And I could, you could join me at about 11 o'clock and we could go through a little bit more. If you want to continue, if you've liked whatever you've received in these last 2 weeks, then Saturday mornings here at 7:30. If you really want to really be in the collective, or 9 o'clock. And in Virginia, 11 o'clock. I'll be there. And you can just try to go the next stage, because to me the most important part of your journey now is for you to start to trust your connection to Baba, but also to be able to understand how to facilitate what to do with my newfound strength. And so I love this saying, and I live by this with my own life. It's not power that corrupts you when you get it. But if you are already corrupted and you have power, the power will reveal your character. But if you have a good character and you are given power, then your good character will be revealed in the power that you were given. So never say power corrupts. And what I wish for you to know is here, once you start to connect to the source, there is a very quiet, gentle, consistent strength that starts to come into you, through you, for you, because your mind is becoming clear. You're not going to waste it anywhere where it doesn't belong. You're not going to waste your mental power on individuals who don't value you, because you are now in the business of valuing yourself and using your life with more value. And you wish to take your life of value to places where it will be valued. So as you begin to raise your quality level, you will start to find karmically your spirit and your body will go to where value exists. You won't be in areas where it doesn't. So, any questions? Because if I tell you that the advanced classes are about getting up at 4, every day listen to a class at 6, become a vegetarian, go to bed by 10, pause every hour on the hour, have pure relationships, you'll be like, bye girl, bye Felicia. So what I want you to know is that you have to think about It's your soul that you're changing. And so what do you need to do to change you at that deeper level? And so if I really care about my spirit will move me to do that which I care the most about. Okay? So, recommendation, if you'd like to continue with the deeper aspects of the course, we have a regular everyday class called the Murli, M-U-R-L-I. It's a sweet word. It's called the flute of knowledge. And the Murli is where we begin to kind of, we start to trust, like, there's something Baba's saying to me, sort of like how he used to look at me. Brahma Baba would look at me and just wait for me to discover what I need to find out about me. He wouldn't tell me. He would just look. And he would be plain. So you know when a mirror is clean, then when you present yourself in front of a mirror, you can see your reflection very clearly. So then you can determine what you need to change. So when you bump into human beings who are clean in character, in spirit, and vibration, it helps you to see who you are because they're clean. And what the world needs more of are clean people, so we could be mirrors for each other. So we can support each other more. So the Murli will be the next basic step. But before you go there, I really would like to just let you know I'm available to be with you, for you to gradually going into it. Murli is like when you leave high school, you go to college. And you're in a completely different set of students. You're in a completely different genre. The language takes you some time to acclimate to. The guidelines, the structure, it's definitely different than high school, but you're in college now. It's different. So when you step into the Murli, that's like what you've gone into. You've gone into college now. And so there are ways in which you study, and you study more effectively and more consistently because you are going to get your degree. Now some of us drop out of college and we go on and do a technical job, or we build our own empires or buildings or businesses, and we work really hard. And some of us just love study. And so we just stay in there for a long time. And we just study. And we study and we even teach, or we help new folks along the way. But whatever it is you're going to be called to, you let us know. So if you'd like me to give you the next steps, tomorrow, I then would suggest come at 9, not 7, if you wish to continue. If you can't come at 9 in the morning tomorrow, then Sunday at 11, if you can come to the Tyson Center, that will be fine. I'll be there too. If you can't do that, can I recommend that you send me a note, because I won't be here that next week. But if you can send me a note, I would still love to be able to guide you through, because I suspect you can't finish here. There's more for you. You know, there's a need for more, to just take me a little bit further. And when I'm ready to go and fly on my own, I'll go. You know, you just tell me and you just go. So if you need that little extra, then we'd be happy to support you. But we are here, we're available every day. So you can hop in and hop out. We prefer a more consistent approach. The advanced students who have decided from here that they're going to make intense changes, they generally get up in the mornings at 3:30, 4 o'clock. It's called Amrit Vela. And they spend about 30 to 45 minutes in solitude, in silence, between the soul and Baba. And they wait for their signals, their experience, their plug, their charge. That's where I get my charge, why I can go all day. It's my morning routine. A lot of people feel if I get up that early, I won't last the day. And what happens is that you have to remember you're getting charged. You're not getting up early. You're plugging in to go the whole day. You're getting charged. So you have a date with God, and it's a sacred time. And then after that, and this is what the million students are doing in 120 countries, okay? So I'm just letting you know, when you go to college, if you decide to come to college with us, there's a class at every one of our branches, all 9,000, at 6 o'clock every morning, every day, except for on Sundays. It's usually at 7. But for here, it's Saturday and Sunday, it's 7. So the morning classes is the Murli, and the Murli is our connection between the soul and what Baba is telling us that day. Like, I just want Baba and me to figure ourselves out. Then you don't need an agent anymore. And that's for about 45 minutes to an hour. There's 15 minutes of meditation, 40 minutes of classes, and then another 10, 15 minutes. Let me settle that experience into me. You will not get the whole Murli. Baba's feeding 1 million kids at the same time in every country around the world. You'll only take a spoonful of that Murli. Only one thing will touch you. Because he's feeding all genres, all cultures, all caste, all age group of spiritual age. So it's not just about you fully. Understand that it's a shared wisdom. So Baba will give what you need, Baba will give what you need, Baba will give what you need, Baba will give you, Baba will give you, Baba will give you, and Baba knows everything that's going on inside of you, and he will touch you. And he will go, do it like this, don't do that. Be like that, don't be that. And you will feel when you're resisting him, life gets tough. You'll know it instantly. When you start to resist his loving guidance, it's as if it's just you. You're pushing yourself. You've got to make it happen. And he's like, it's fine, but I'm telling you, I'm the wind beneath your wings, but it's okay. And after that, we generally have our breakfast around 8, 8:30. And then every hour on the hour, we'll pause for traffic control. So every hour, we'll stop for about maybe 30 seconds, 60 seconds, depends on the day. And that hour, every hour, is for us to go back to soul consciousness and to Baba and to remember who we are and to bring that peace wherever we are. So every hour, the music will play, and you might come to the center and you're talking to us, and all of a sudden we get quiet and you hear the music, you go, oh, it's time to remember Baba. And so we're going to traffic control and pause for a little bit. And evening meditation, 7 to 7:30. Have a meal. Try not to go to bed later than 10:30. They say the darkest energies exist between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. So Baba always says, make sure you're sleeping between that time, because a lot of negative energies there, you don't want them to be in your space. Just become unconscious and go to sleep at that time. So he wants to protect us, where he just wants to just say, come on, I know it's not going to be easy to go back to love, peace, purity, truth, and joy, but I got you. I got you. Don't worry. I got you. And so he's every day and being there for us. And there's so many brothers and sisters who are here to hold your hands, so it'll be okay. So just let us know if you're interested, okay? All right, so let's do 1 or 2 meditation exercises. Ready? Squeeze your thumb and your, what do you call this finger?
Pointer index.
The pointer? Index? Okay. So squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze. Release. Do again. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. The tension, this is body consciousness, this is algae. This is when you're in algae mode. Can you believe it? And when you're in soul conscious mode, release. Can you get used to being free? Okay. If you happen to ever be feeling tired at work, or even if you feel tired in meditation, massage your 2 earlobes, top to bottom. Really squeeze it tight. And what happens, you begin to circulate the energy, and the energy begins to flow this way, back into you. And you get at least another good half an hour of boost. Isn't that good? Physics. It's amazing. I love it. All right, another exercise. You feel it? There's some we're taking more time. I think I need an extra 45 minutes before I can go home. All right.
Every day.
You do it every day?
Yeah, because when we were in India, so that time we always say when you take shower and you
Massage it.
yes,
Yes, it's
we
very
do
good.
every day we do that.
It's very, very good, I tell you. It's just everywhere. It's like pranayama and all of that. Another thing that I do is, and I learned this from a young man who was in prison. And as a result of being in prison, he was on my radio show. And he said, doing this exercise not only saved his life, but so many other inmates. And then when he was released, he ended up making it a movement in which now he teaches over 2 million people this exercise. And he's seeing great results physically, emotionally, and mentally. So you've heard me do this with you before, where you take, like, it's 2 breaths in the same breath, and then you blow it out through your mouth. So it's like, do that, and do it about 4 times, 5 times. Keep doing it. You start to feel the energy here opening up. You start to feel your neck as if your brain was holding all this energy and you didn't know. It's incredible. And you can feel it. You can feel here's opening, and here's opening. These are simple techniques. They're physical, but they help the soul to be prepared for its journey. Now, when you want to go inwards and really go now for the interior work, I'd like you to imagine that there are 4 doors. And you are planning to visit those 4 doors in which these rooms have different vibrations in it. Did you remember the cycle class that I took you through where it talked about the golden age, the silver age, the copper age, and the iron age, and there were all different stages of consciousness? I want you to imagine that when first start to kind of visualize the beginning of your meditation. So the beginning of your meditation is sort of like you're on your journey, you're traveling. You're aware that you're a non-physical energy. You're very clear, but the attachment to your body is very strong. So you need to gradually remove your attachment, and you can't do it instantly. You can say you're a soul, you're a point of light, but it might not be an experience. So we want to get to the point of experiencing that we can feel released. So imagine now in your meditation, just travel with me for a little bit, right? Take a deep breath, inhale, sit up straight, relax. And in this moment, you are completely aware that you really are a non-physical energy. You're aware that you're the soul, and that the soul is on a journey throughout time. Sit with that for a little. You completely accept that you're on a journey. And as you begin your travels, you approach this beautiful house. And as you gently walk in, you encounter 4 doors which represent 4 rooms. And the first door on your right is the door of your golden and silver aged experiences. Step inside for a little and have whatever you need to see in that room support your golden and silver ages. You see, in this room you're safe. You're absolutely safe. In this room you're pure and kind. In this room you are a living deity, an embodiment of love. Stay here for a while. And remember, for a little while, let's slowly and lovingly, in a reflective mode, leave behind this room. And as you exit this room, you enter the other door to the right of that room. And the door is called the door of change. Slowly you begin to feel just a little tired. Begin to feel just a little more human than you can remember, and you don't feel as light as you used to, but it's okay. It's not so bad, but there's a change, sort of like fall, where the leaves turn yellow and brown, but they're falling. But you're not aware that you're falling. It's just a change. You're still happy. You still enjoy people and you enjoy life. It's just a change. As you continue the journey now, you exit this room to enter the next. And for some reason you kind of hesitate wanting to go in this room. Just everything in you feels you'd rather not. But you enter this room anyway. As you slowly open the door, the light is dim. There's no sun. It's kind of shadowy. It feels almost natural though. Almost like you've gotten used to this melancholy existence. And everyone you look at in this time period is the same. Everyone just seems the same. Kind of feels heavy here. So I decide I don't really want to stay here anymore, and I depart. And the final door just has a sort of invitational energy to it. But I'm not sure if I can enter it. I'm quite tired. I don't even know if I have the strength to turn the knob and enter one more room of my life. But I feel a gentle push, a gentle nudge. Go inside. And as I turn the knob and enter this room, is just this beautiful, warm, embracing light. And these feelings are coming over you of love, unconditional, peace, unlimited, purity, eternal innocence, happiness, and wisdom. It's just naturally there. And I can see Baba's light, this enormous glow is just everywhere. And it's mine. It's mine. It's mine. And to be quite frank, I don't need to leave this room. I think everything I've ever wanted and searched for is right here. It's in the stillness. So I sit here as long as I want in silence, lost in love with the One. Take a deep breath. Release. With your newfound strength and charge, I can feel the door gently opening, and I could literally feel Brahma Baba just smiling and standing there, just so happy that you've made the connection. And he gently opens the door and say, "You're free." Take a deep breath. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And when you're ready, feel free to come back into the room, into the space. And feel free to practice the meditation based on where you are and how you feel. It can create a lot of unique experiences. And so lots of good wishes for tonight. And Antonia said, I have to remind everyone, we are hosting a special event tomorrow, Cooking for Peace. And since Sister Gita will not be coming for that, I will be sitting in. And so on the menu is tofurkey, pumpkin pie, and some cauliflower something that Brother David will be making. And everything will be vegetarian and plant-based. And so if you'd like to get an idea for vegetarian Thanksgiving, you're welcome to give it a try tomorrow. at 1:30 to 3 o'clock if you'd like. And we also have very nice cooking classes here, so you can learn to pick up some good recipes. When you go out of here, you have a choice. You raise yourself from your seat as if Baba's walking with you, talking with you, and you keep reminding yourself, I am a peaceful person. I am a loving soul. I am a pure soul. So when you get up and you start to walk around in that remembrance, it's that simple. And you start to practice it more and more, and it starts to really grow in you. And you begin to pull away from things that are energy drainers or your energy snappers. Because you have to cultivate a lot of energy now at the confluence age. This is where you've got to fill your tank up. This is your age. This is not the age to empty it. It's to fill it up. Okay? All right. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll send a message out tonight for some of the pointers and with the next steps if you're open to going on that route, okay? How many of you are in Virginia? Okay, so then you'll be with me in Tyson's, and everyone else is in Maryland, here in Virginia, and DC? Okay. You're DC, okay. Where in DC are you? Downtown, okay. How'd you end up downtown? Long story? Okay, so we'll take it from there. So we're here on Saturdays if you want to continue, and then we'll send you out some options that you can play with. But I can assure you, just like how you've taken the time for the course, that will be how it will feel in college too. Just take your time. Just take your time. Okay? Mm-hmm. So we have some blessing. Antonia, can you give everybody a blessing from me when they leave out, right from there? Yeah? All right, Santosh, you'll play a nice song?
Thank you for your inspiration, for your life and love. Thank you for your recognition of the one above. Thank you for your sweet compassion, for your life of truth. Thank you for walking on this earth. Thank you for being you. The river flows back to the ocean. The trees turn back to dust. The sun must set as the day it ends, and so shall all of us. The gift of silence is returned to each one's soul.